Welcome back, everybody. It's your favorite time of the week where I make somebody sweat and answer uncomfortable questions for the entertainment of everybody else at H1. So today we have my friend Tatiana. She's on our KOL 360 team, and we're going to learn more about her and what she does and what she did in the past, because she's got an interesting history, career history, and we're going to learn more about all of that. So I do this every time, but I'm getting tired of it because everybody should know how this works because you're all avid watchers. But we have 3 hot sauces here, and I've got a bunch of wings, and we're going to cover the wings in the hot sauces, and then we're going to cover ourselves in sweat and talk about some stuff. This is how this goes. So before we do that, though, the whole reason why we're here is to let people get to know each other. So not everybody knows you yet, I'm sure. So a couple things. Where in the world are you?
I'm in Denver, Colorado,
Mhm.
and but I've lived all around the United States ever since I moved here about 13 years ago from Brazil.
Oh, I was going to say, I hear the Colorado accent, but that doesn't really add up. So you moved here from Brazil. We're going to talk more about that because you did interesting stuff in Brazil before you came to the US. And how long have you been at H1 now?
It was a year in January 1st. So
Oh, what's that? So you're like our own little H1 New Year's baby, right? You started on the first of the year. Cool. And so I said that you're on the KOL 360 team, but what does that mean to people who live on the front side of the business?
so we're in the background. We're the people who put the stuff inside, all the information that are in the profiles. And my specific team is the LATAM. And I entered because I'm a physician and 10 years of practice in Brazil.
Mhm.
And one day I met an American who was working with the Brazilian Navy back in Brazil. And I dropped everything, got married, moved to Brazil, moved to the United States,
Mhm.
and took the boards, got my license here, and had to start from scratch because the US requires that. So I went to do my residency again in New York.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I'm
Wow.
a neurologist, and I had to redo my neurology residency here. And long story short, my kid had a chronic illness, and I had to make a decision. I had to stop practicing, and I went to academia. So I'm a professor at University of Colorado.
Mhm.
And that's why we moved here. And so COVID started, our research got kaput because the patients stopped coming.
Mhm.
And so that's when Will Hickson, back then when he was at H1, invited me, said, hey, we're starting Brazil. I know you know Brazil a lot. Would you like to come? And I was
Mhm.
like, sure, tell me more about it. And that's how I ended up here.
And the rest is history, as they say, right? How do you like that? Interesting. You got to do your residency again. I'm sure that's something every doctor says. Man, if I could go through residency again, that would be great, right?
Oh my God. I wasn't attending back there and coming back as an intern. That was fun.
Ah, good times. Um, so you're bringing all this data in, right? Of all the things that you're working on at H1, what's the most exciting part? But before you to answer, we consulted your daughter, and she said being right is what excites you the most. Is that a fair assessment? Would you say?
That was when we were doing the individual development plan, and I was a little stuck. I didn't know what to write. And she's a very curious kid. She was like looking over my shoulder. I was like, what are you writing? And I said, oh, it's saying here, what motivated you? And they don't know exactly what you put in here. Like, can I write it for you? Can I write it for you? I said, sure, go ahead, right there. And she was like, what motivates me is when I get a chance to be right. It was like, really? So that's how my daughter sees me. And once I stopped laughing for like 30 minutes straight, I look at her like, you know what? That's the best assessment I ever made of myself.
Well,
And because jokes aside, I love to be able to impart what I know, to share knowledge. That's why I ended up being a professor, and putting my knowledge to use. If I can help someone with what I know, like, hey, let me share what I know so you can do your job better, so I can make your life easier. That makes me end my day. It was like, yay. And that's my goal in life. That's what pumps me up.
You know, and that's perfect, right? Combination, because that's what we do here every day, right? You know, there are people with information, people who need that information, and we connect them together. So the idea that you want to take all that's in your head and give it to other people is exactly what we're helping our KOLs do, somewhat unbeknownst to them sometimes, right? By making them searchable. So, you know, I think it's the right mentality for somebody here at H1. That is awesome. Well, what do you think? Think it's time?
Let's do it.
I think it's time. All right. So first up is what's becoming a fan favorite. It is number 6 out of 10, Senor Lechuga. And it's got this adobo flavor. It's lime. It's hot, but not unbearably so. But we'll get to that. And so let's do that. So let's take a little bit of this hot sauce, get a good dab on top of that wing. Okay, you're all set?
Yes. Let's do it.
Cheers to you, my friend. Got a little kick, not bad. The flavor on this is one of my favorite hot sauces of all time. And I've never had this until this show. And now, in addition to my hot one stash, I'm keeping this in stock for my personal eating as well. So, when you are not working to help create a healthier future, where can we find you?
Well, you'll find me doing something geeky. That's for sure.
Something geeky. I got that sense because it's actually, we'll just go ahead and tie that right into the fact that you said you love Star Wars, right? I'm sure you are far from the only person here that loves Star Wars. So for all Star Wars fans, here's a critical question, especially those of us who grew up with Star Wars. Those of us who knew that Greedo didn't shoot first. But anyway, 9 episodes. As this hot sauce is heating up and working its way through you, rank those for me. Best to worst, 9 episodes of Star Wars. Can you do it?
All 9? Yeah. Best, Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Worst, hands down, still makes me angry to this day, The Last Jedi. I left the theater like wanting to shoot the guy. Oh my God, did I hate that movie. I hate it even more than the first trilogy, like no, the first 3, like 1, 2, and 3. Man, for me to hate that more than those 3, that says a lot.
True. And I think for a long time, 1, 2, and 3 were really just lumped together as one big movie that was terrible. But you're right. I'm with you on that.
I think the others, in terms of order, I wouldn't have much of a difference. They're, as a diehard fan, I wouldn't put them in a specific, oh, I like this more and more and more. They're all at the same level of, I love this. But probably the last 2 would be episode 1 and Last Jedi. And the top one would be Empire Strikes Back. And all the others are all at the same level in the middle.
I give you that. Good. All right. if anybody is a Star Wars fan out there and you want to chop it up about the order of the episodes, you can let us know. We'll all chat about that. Cool. All right. Are you ready to advance?
Let's go.
Now, what I'll tell you is this one is number 8, and it's called Da Bomb. But this has categorically been reviewed as the hottest of the 10.
Really? Isn't the healthcare?
This is hot. So we're jumping into Da Bomb here. We're going to sweat. And this, I think, would be a good time to go backwards on Tatiana's timeline of her life.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be a little bit stingy here on this one because it's rough.
Okay. Let's see. Do you think
Ready?
this is good enough?
Sure.
Yeah.
Works for me. Ready?
Ready.
Here we go. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't take this time to let you tell us a story from your days as a doctor in the Brazilian military. Dealer's choice. Pick a story that's, whatever you think we should hear.
Well, I spent 5 years in the Brazilian Air Force, and I was in the medical corps as a neurologist. I was actually deputy chief of the Department of Neurology. I had 35 people under my command.
Wow.
And well, it's, as you can imagine, pretty unorthodox military.
You?
I was first lieutenant, but was never a very autocratic person, and but I never had problems getting people to do what was needed. I was always like on the use of humor and sarcasm, more specifically, in the sense of come on, blah blah blah, and I always had a good relationship with everyone, and things ran smoothly. So it was a fun time, and my superiors at some point got one of them was also a very funny guy, Lieutenant Colonel, used to tell me, you know that people are afraid of you. I said, what? He said that because I would get funny with everybody, but when people screwed up, like other people, there was once a guy who put a guy who had meningitis, and he didn't bother to examine him in the emergency department. And he put the guy with meningitis in a infirmary with 4 of the guys. In the morning, they had put like, blah, 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 go see neurology in the morning, blah, blah, blah. Neurology has to go see him. Get there. The guy is unconscious, and there's 4 of the people in the room with him. The guy has meningitis. And I have a bit of a temper, just a little bit. And went back to the emergency room, and then like I didn't see that because I was mad, but later people telling me there was like a bunch of people walking around, like sergeants that were nurses and everything, like, oh my God, Lieutenant Tatiana's passed. Let's go, let's go. And everybody I enter like the emergency room like a saloon, like a Western movie, like kicking doors. Who did this? And the guy was actually above me. It was a captain, and it was taller than me. I was, and the guy was like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." So, those, as I said, I was a little unorthodox, but I think even though the military has the hierarchical stuff, I think the medical part always goes above that, because first and foremost, you have a commitment to the patient above anything else. And there was also the rule, like we were the only ones allowed to forbid someone from flying. Doesn't matter if it's a brigadier. If you're not in condition to fly, it's tough cookie. I'm going to tell you to fly. And they got really mad at that, but that's the rule. So the medical part will always supersede the military part. And at that moment, I wasn't a lieutenant mad of a captain. I was a doctor mad of another doctor who didn't perform his job well and threatened the life of 4 other people and the guy who had injured. And in that sense, I wasn't a good military, but I don't regret it. No.
Yeah, I can only imagine, right? I've never had to balance my oath of enlistment against something like the Hippocratic Oath, right? 2 things that you swear to uphold to the letter of the law, and sometimes they're in conflict. So that's, I can only imagine, right? Quick on your feet decisions, right? Lives are on the line.
Yeah. But even that, I was always trying to, that's how I usually am at work, like always trying to crack up jokes, trying to keep the climate, like take everything with levity and fun, as I think things are stressful enough. So at least let's try to keep things funny as much as you can to reduce the stress.
More importantly, how are you okay right now?
Say what?
How are you okay? How are you functioning? How are you not? Is this not hot for you?
I'm Brazilian.
I'm going to be removed from my post as the host of this show after people see you eating this. I got Josh crying. I got Mike Whitworth texting me after the way I made him feel, and you're just like, cakewalk. Man.
There's a food in Brazil from the state called Bahia. That's called acarajé. And it's like a bean cake that is comes from Africa. When they came, they made that to eat, and it became kind of a traditional food from there, and it's delicious. And they make like really, really, really spicy sauce there. And was in college, and I went there and had never eaten it, and they gave it to me. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'm gonna try this. And I was like all cocky and said, I can totally handle this. And I took a first bite, and I was at the beach, and I remember taking the first bite and it's like, this is fine. And I wasn't even finishing the word fine in Portuguese. And I lost air. And I ran to the beach and I started drinking seawater.
Wow.
So bad it was. So that was one that I couldn't handle.
Well, I'll tell you from my perspective, the fact that I brought this show to the H1 masses and I'm sweating and you're fine. Now that I hear about that, all I can say is that, you know, you deserved it. That's what you got. All right. Okay. So we're going to go, actually, I think up in number, but we're going to go down in heat, which is really weird. But we'll see how this works for you. Hopefully this is a little bit of a sleeper heat for you that sneaks up and gets you. And it's called Hellfire.
Okay, let's do it.
Here we go. Okay. Ready.
Wait. Okay. What do you
Fantastic. Yep, all set there. All right, so we're going to take a bite here. So everybody knows that I'm a big fan of would you rather questions. I like these questions that put you a little bit on your back foot and make you think about how to answer it when everything's hot. But this is not going to be an either or exactly. since you are a sci-fi fan in general, I know Star Wars, but I'm presuming that includes all sci-fi, right? Because you mentioned that. So um, action, adventure, space. Were you an Avengers fan? Did you watch those movies?
Mm, the Avengers, no, unfortunately not, because
Gotcha.
by then I was starting to have kids already, and then my life, as I
Mm.
knew, started to end.
What about Star Trek?
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean, so a lot of times that's it's got to be one or the other. They make you choose. But okay. So even so, right? We've got all these people have been in some flavor of a sci-fi movie, whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek or, like I said, some of the Marvel movies. So here's the would you rather:
Mm-hmm.
Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth. These are the four sci-fi Chris's. And the question is, would you rather give a good old smooch to Chris Pratt, Pine, Evans, or Hemsworth? Which sci-fi Chris Hottie would be your number one pick?
Kind of a blonde guy girl, so I think Hemsworth.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's the muscles that do it for me on Chris Hemsworth, truthfully. Fantastic. Now, how's this one? Is this one hotter or less hot than the one we did before?
It's a little hotter, but I love it. I'm
You
eating
love
more.
it. Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Showing us all up. Terrific. Okay. Everybody gets the same question at the end, yet somehow nobody seems like they're ready for it when I ask them. So we're going to see. You've been here a little bit over a year. Okay. All right. I'm collecting my composure because we're not all Brazilian, as it turns out. So after your year here of interacting with everybody, another kind of almost like a would you rather. So after your year here, who would you say? Are you more of an Ian or an Ariel?
Well, Ariel has that Buddhist monk demeanor, and he seems zen, and I admire people who have the zen inside them so much. I wish so much I was like that, but I'm not. I was born without any chill at all. A friend of mine used to call me like not type A, type AAA. So I think I'm more of an Ian. I don't know them that well. I wish I had more interactions, but by what I observe of Ian, he seems like more that type. That I feel more that it's more the way I am.
That's amazing. Ian and Ariel, this seems to be a recurring theme from everybody that we talk to, right? Yeah, that's fantastic. So that's it. Is that what? That fast paced and that executor style of getting things done, huh? That you align with.
And also like the agitated. I can ever be calm.
Right. Well, sounds like again, this is a bit of a theme here. So apparently Ian needs a bit of a vacation, I think, is what the employees of H1 seem to be saying repeatedly.
They said,
that's awesome.
Impression.
Just the impression. May or may not be.
I have a daily interaction with them to be sure if that is actually.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. All right. So those of you who are watching us after the fact, what you don't know is there were 3 or 4 minutes of me sniffling and blinking and trying to figure out how I'm going to close up this show that's been edited out. So now that I'm mostly put back together again, we're going to call it quits. But before we do that, I like to give everybody an opportunity at the very end of the show to just look right into the camera and just speak your mind. Tell us what's on your mind about H1 or anything else there. The floor is yours. The The company is your audience. Talk to your H1 friends. What's on your mind?
Guys, I've been, as I said, a little over a year here. I love everyone I have worked with so far, and it's a great environment. I'm very happy to so far have always learned a lot from everybody. I am very happy, hopefully have helped a lot of people as well with what I know. And I hope to keep doing that so we can, I think all the values we have, I think the one that resonates with me the most is one team, because that's the thing I see every day. It's everybody's always, oh, you're having this problem. Let me try to solve this for you. Oh, what about this? What about that? And I love that. And let's keep it up, because that's the thing I think that makes H1 great. We are always helping each other to put the best product out there, and go H1.
Excellent. Tatiana, thank you, my friend, for doing this. Thank you a little bit less for making me look like a rookie as the resident hot sauce guy. But with that, we're going to say so long, everybody, and we will see you again very soon. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.